Hello, this is Kelly Martin, and I'm sorry that I look kind of really bad. I can't get the lighting right, and it's what it is. I wanted to do a tag that I saw. It's called the Summer Scaries book tag, which I love scary books. I love all kinds of spooky things. So when I saw this on Emma Books, I knew that I had to do a tag or put my take on it. And I'm also going to try to not have to edit this. So if there's a lot of ums and ums and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all the issues with these videos, but I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is the Summer Scaries book tag, which is 10 or 8 questions that all have to do with some kind of Halloweeny thing, because it's never too early to do Halloween things. Okay, so and I will link Emma Books video in the description so you can go see it. You can make your own video because I would love to see what you love. And also, I wanted to tell you that if you do like scary books, my newest scary book, Between the Dreaming and the Dead, is coming out September 13th. It's already on Goodreads, so you can go ahead and put it on your TBR if you want to. But these are, I don't have any of my own books here, so you will get some other people's recommendations. But Between the Dreaming and the Dead, it's on Goodreads right now. Okay, anyway, onto the tag. Number 1, Specter, a book that still haunts you after you read it. And I picked The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is not the last book I read, but I read it last month, and I absolutely loved it. If you probably know the story a little bit, it's about a man named Dorian who gets his picture painted, and I don't know how much you know about it, so that's probably as much as you should know about it. It's supernatural in a way that it's kind of not supernatural, but it is supernatural, and then you kind of forget about the painting, but then you remember about the painting. And this is actually the book that I screamed when I read it, not because it was super scary, but because something happened that I was so surprised about that I could not believe that it actually happened. And it was like my kids were asleep, my husband was asleep, and I just screamed. Could not believe it. So definitely, it's very short. It's just a novella. Definitely pick up The Picture of Dorian Gray. If you've not read it ever, be sure to pick it up. Number 2, Don't Split Up, a book you would want to read around the campfire with friends. Now, this one is actually it's a sweet memory. I picked Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. This was the very first book that I read. It's the very first novel I've ever read in 4th grade. Not 4th grade, oh my gosh, 8th grade. And my friend Rosie and I read it together. We buddy read. And it was kind of like, when we had time, when everybody else went to basketball practice and we had free time in the afternoons, we would read this. So I think this would be really fun to go back and read with other people. So, Interview with the Vampire. I loved it. I loved the movie. It was back when the movie came out. Don't do any subtraction to try to figure out how old I am. But that was when the movie came out. I was in 8th grade, and we were obsessed with the movie and obsessed with the book, and that's kind of how all this got started. Number 3, Ghost, a book you would like to ghost, meaning a book you would just kind of like forget about. And I don't really like to do negative things or talk about, negative things on this channel. So, but I did pick one, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And this would make my mother very sad if she knew this, so don't ever tell her this is her favorite book. I've tried so hard to read this book. Where am I? I'm at page 52. It's took me years to get to page 52. I've tried, and I love the cover. It's very pretty, and I'm sure it's a very good book. But if it didn't exist, that would, it's the only one I could think of. So I'm going to try. I will get it read someday. Number 4, Frankenstein, a book that mixes genres well. by the way. I love I, don't, I love the first part of the book Frankenstein, but I need to do a Frankenstein review because everybody's dying for that one. I picked, this is actually one of my favorite books ever. I picked These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. I love this book. Honestly, when I bought it because I thought it was a horror book. Because look at the cover. Screams horror. It is not a horror book. It is about a girl, and her name's Jo, and she lives in New York, and it's about the 1900s, I do believe. And she wants to be a reporter, and of course her father's like, didn't want that to happen. And it has a really, really good storyline to it with Eddie, and oh, it's just so good. It's just so good. I love this book. Is his name Eddie? Now that I say that, is it Eddie? Yeah, it's Eddie. I thought it was. Sometimes I get this story and Stalking Jack the Ripper mixed up character names wise, but it mixes mystery and historical fiction and science and everything like that. And I think it's a really good Frankenstein-ish book. I love it. Love it. Number 5, a book with a twist you didn't see coming. And for this one, I picked Alone by Sin Baylock. I loved this book. The ending, I guess I picked this one because I didn't see the ending coming. The ending's a little, ooh, so that's why I picked this one. Not bad, just a twist that usually I'm pretty good at picking twist endings because, I mean, I love twists. I think they're the coolest thing, and I like to write twists. So twists are awesome, but for that one, I didn't see it coming, so I guess it definitely fits in that category. Okay, number 6. A zombie. A book series you would like to revive from the BookTube graveyard. Now, if you don't know what BookTube is people who talk about books on YouTube. Makes sense. I don't think these have ever actually been on the BookTube radar, but it's a series, and I absolutely love it. I've talked about it before. It is the Sign of Seven series by Nora Roberts, Blood Brothers, and The Hollow, and The Pagan Stone. More people should read these books because, I mean, one, they're Nora Roberts, so they're not really going to have that twisty ending, but they're so good. And they follow different characters, of course. There's 3 boys and 3 girls, and the 3 boys have been friends since they were since childhood, and something happened when they were 10, and then something happens every so many years, and then they have to fight the evil, and they have to go in the woods, and all this stuff happens, and it's really, really good. So if you've never read this series, definitely pick it up. Actually, this is my second set of it. I gave away my first set because I was not smart, and I found this, I think, at Books A Million and picked it up, and not giving this sucker away. Number 7, a horror book with a strong female protagonist, and this is didn't have to be a witch, but this character book tag part is witch, and I picked There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This book reminds me of the movie Scream, which if you're young enough to remember Scream, bless you, or old enough to remember Scream, I guess, before it was a TV show. This is a lot like Scream. I don't have a whole lot of horror books, which you would think I would. I'm getting more, and I'm reading more of the classics to start off with. So, but anyway, this one does have a strong female protagonist in it. Her name is, I will totally butcher this, McCaney. I think McCaney Young, and things are happening, and she lives in Nebraska, and she's haunted by her past in Hawaii, and people start to die, and it's mystery, and you have to figure out what happens, and it's just really good. So yeah, strong female protagonist. And number 8, the very last one, Mind Control, which is actually You know, when you take those quizzes and they're like, if you could have anything in the world, what would you have? Or like any superpower, mine would be mind control. Not that you needed to know that, but now you do. Anyway, too much Professor X in my movie history. Number 9, mind control. A spooky book you would recommend to everyone and anyone, and basically your favorite. Before I read The Portrait of Dorian Gray, my absolute favorite book was Wuthering Heights. And I don't even think you can see where it says Wuthering Heights. I love Wuthering Heights. It's not really a horror book, it's a spooky book. It's not a healthy relationship book. And Heathcliff doesn't, nobody even, tries to say that Heathcliff and her have a very strong, healthy relationship. They know it, we know it, everybody knows it. But it's so good. It's such a good book. The atmosphere and the way it's told, and just the history and what's going on between the characters. It's a book that I can't wait to reread, actually. I'm looking forward to reading it again to make sure. It's by Emily Bronte, by the way, just in case I didn't say that. I need to read it again to make sure that I still love it as much, but I'm pretty sure I will, because, it has a place in my heart, Wuthering Heights. So, if you've ever wanted a book recommendation from me, the first thing I will tell you to read is Wuthering Heights. The second thing I will tell you to read is The Portrait of Dorian Gray. I don't know which one you'll like more, and I don't know which. I'm sure this whole video will be me looking at the thing instead of right here. I'm so sorry. I should be looking at you in your eyes. The first book I recommend to you is Wuthering Heights. The second book is The Portrait of Dorian Gray. I read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde the other day, and I liked it. And I think if I had known or not known that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, spoiler alert, were the same person, like when it first came out, I'd been like, this is the best book ever. But since you kind of know, it kind of messes it up. Anyway, I'll have the questions in the description if you want to do this tag. I hope you do. If you do, let me know you did it. Big thanks to Emma Books for doing the tag so I could see it. I hope you got some really spooky recommendations. Have you read these books? Do you like these books? Tell me in the comments so we can talk about them, because I'm on a Goodreads group right now. We're talking about classics, and Dorian Gray's on there, and I've been chatting it because I just love that book. So yeah, also if you do like spooky books, check out my books because they're spooky. And like I said, Between the Dreaming and the Dead comes out September 13th. It's already on Goodreads if you want to add it there. All those links will be in the description. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.